Hi, I'm Troy from Studio 33 Guitar. The video you're about to watch is an excerpt from our course called the RockStarter Level One. This course is designed for the beginner guitar player that's looking to get into the world of rock guitar playing. If you enjoy this video, then please check out the full course at our site, studio33guitar.com. Now let's look at making power chords using the open strings. Now this is a really common technique for rock guitar because it gives the chord a really strong full sound. So let's start again with our G power chord. So we have our index finger again on that G note. So remember I said that wherever that index finger is, that is the name of the chord that we're playing. So in this case, we're playing a G power chord. If we move this whole shape down one fret, this would become an F sharp power chord. If we move that down another fret, we would have an F power chord, because now our index finger is on that F note. Now if we move this down one more fret, we've run out of frets for our index finger, but you can see where our pinky finger goes here. Now basically, our index finger is on kind of an imaginary fret back here. And that's basically just representing the open string. So we have an open E string, and then the note where our pinky is, and that would give us an E power chord. And that's a bit of an awkward hand position to hold that chord that way. So we would play that using the index finger where the pinky is right now. So an E power chord would be played this way. So you can see how that sounds really big and full because of that low E note. So this is really common in rock guitar, and the key of E is a key that a lot of guitar players like to play in for that reason. Another option for these power chords is you can add in the octave note as well. So far we've been talking about how we have the root note and the fifth. We can also add the octave in order to give it even more of a full sound. So in this case, the octave to the open E string is this note that's on your D string. That's an E note. So when we play that E power chord like this, if we bar that index finger across that next string, we can get that E note as well. So then 3 strings would be played for this power chord, and it would sound like this. Now if we back up, we can do that same thing with those other power chords that we've been working on. So for example, that G power chord, if we want to add in the octave, it's the note right below the one that the pinky's on. So again, we can use that pinky finger to bar across those 2 notes. So then you would have this together. So it's still a power chord because we're still only using the root note and the fifth, but then we're just adding the octave again. So we're repeating the root note again. The important thing is when you are playing those power chords with that octave and you bar with your pinky finger, you don't want to bar the rest of the notes or the rest of the strings as well, because then you're going to get some notes that you don't want. So you'll want to bar across those 2 notes, and then you'll want to mute out these other notes. So that'll take a little bit of practice to be able to figure out the exact angle that you need to have your finger on that string in order to get both of those notes to come out, but not the other ones. So you'll need to kind of play around with that to figure out exactly the right positioning. So now back to our E power chord. We can do the exact same thing now for an A power chord if we just move that index finger down to the next set of strings. So we have the open A string, and then our index finger is on that 2nd fret of the D string. And again, if we want to have that octave, we can just bar a little bit more, and we have that. So the 3 notes together, be like that. Another really common power chord that we can play using these open strings is the D power chord. And that's played the same way that we play the E and A. We're just going to drop everything down one more string. So from our A chord, we were right here. We're going to drop that finger down one more string, and now we have the open D string, and then that note where our index finger is. So together like this. and that gives us a D power chord. So we have E, A, and D. Those are also really common. What's also really interesting here is that the A, D, and E are actually 1, 4, and 5. If we were to play up here our A chord, and we do our little 1, 4, 5 pattern, we have A, D, and E. It sounds a little bit different because that E chord is lower than the A chord. So it gives a little bit of a different sound. So if we were to play A, E, D this way, the same chords in the open configuration would sound a little bit different. A, E, D. So same chords technically, but they sound different because the E is lower. So that can come in handy too, to have a chord progression that you know and you want to change it up a little bit to make it sound a little bit more interesting. You can play it down here instead. Those three chords are also played together in another order by playing D, A, and E. So you're just basically moving up from that D up a string to A, up a string to E. And that's used in a number of different songs that you might recognize too. Now you can also play E, D, and A and come up with a very familiar song. Now, of course, there's a little lead line that's missing from that. I didn't play that because I just wanted you to hear the chords. We'll maybe learn that lead part in another lesson down the road.